We have been talking about Sila for the past 3 days, and we are giving emphasis on this subject because it is very important for the practicing yogis. It is the beginning of wholesomeness, profitable deeds, to become pure and blameless, so that our behaviors will also become pure and blameless. And Sila is also like a mouth or a door through which things come in. It is the beginning of wholesome deeds, and it is the main thing. We are just talking about the benefits of the practice of morality, so that those who sustain Sila will be able to realize the benefits, and they will be able to sustain this respectfully. Because if the moral conduct is not pure, you will not be able to cultivate concentration and wisdom, however much you undertake the practice. Because if you break and tear and blotch this moral conduct, Sila, you will not be able to realize further trainings, namely concentration training and wisdom training. There may not be any hope for realizing these higher trainings. Hence the emphasis on. We were talking about these 5 precepts yesterday, and this young man wanted to advance from 5 precepts to higher precepts. Now the higher one is Ajiva Dhammaka Sila, 8th precept, with the right livelihood as the 8th. It is for lay person to observe. And maximum 10 precepts, maximum is 10 precepts, which lay people can observe. Because he was not satisfied with just the 5 precepts, he wanted to advance to higher practice of 8 precepts, asking or requesting his teacher what next to practice. And the teacher taught him the 10 precepts. Now as for the 10 precepts, most of them are already mentioned in the 8 precepts. It is in the 7th precept there are these Nacha, Kita, Varida and so on, abstention from entertainments and beautification. And also there is change in the 3rd of the 5 precepts regarding Brahmacharya, in which in the 8 precepts you are to abstain from sexual relations at all. Especially when we are practicing, by activating mindfulness of every arising object on a full-time basis, as full-time practitioners, we are to abstain from such activities. And for them, these 8 or 10 precepts are the best, which are supportive to their practice. They are also known as Brahmacharya, Sila, Sikkhapada. In the 7th precept, there are these 2 things. You can divide this into 2 things. Entertainment, one thing, that is dancing, singing, and listening to music and so on. And the other part is purification. So these 2 parts are divided. The 7th precept is divided into these 2 parts, so that it makes 9. And then the 10th precept is to abstain from handling gold, silver and money. in this way it makes 10 precepts. Although in the 10 precepts the quantity has increased, but in effect, in essence, it is more or less the same, except the addition of the last one, that is abstention from handling gold, silver and money. And among them, these things, precepts, namely abstention from entertainments such as dancing, singing, music, and beautification. That is one group, from one group, and abstention from handling money, gold, and silver. All these things are said to be the additions or glorification of Sila. As regards the main things, namely abstention from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and abstention from intoxicants, are very important. As for the other ones, they are mere additions to glorify this Sila. So there are many benefits by observing these additional precepts. If we try to describe one by one in detail, it may be time consuming. They will be explained at some other time. So in these 8 precepts and 10 precepts, we are substituting Abramacharya in place of Kamasumichacha. So we are abstaining from sexual relations at all. So this is a virtuous behavior, especially when we are here as practitioners, practicing to overcome hindrances, beginning with the hindrance of sense desires, kamacchanda nivaranas. It is more beneficial, it is better if we can abstain from sexual relations at all, and so that we will not have any such intention to commit sexual relations. Just like, of course, one will be able to overcome this kamacchanda totally when one realizes the third supramundane path, namely anagami. As for Sotapanna, first path, one will still be having this kamacchanda as in his own right, in his or her own right, but he or she will not possess the gross forms of sense desires. So, when we are practicing meditation, it is better that we behave like anagami, that is, the one who realizes the third supramundane path. And then if we practice in this way, we will be able to abstain from such activities totally, which will be very beneficial. We have this precept not to abstain from taking meals in the afternoon, vikala bhojana. Vikala means the time from noon today to dawn the next day. Abstaining from solid food like meals, rice, curry, and tea leaves, tea, cakes and so on. If one is hungry, then one is allowed the allowable fruit juices. Now we are serving such juices. Not every fruit is allowable. If one is sick, one may take the 4 sweets known as chatumadu, jaggery or sugar. If by taking them we are not breaking or disrupting the precepts, Sila. Of course, we can take anything before noon. Even if the juices are allowable, if the juices contain some solid materials, then although the precepts are not broken totally, but these precepts may be weakened. At this point, we should say something about this abstention from taking meals in the afternoon, Vikala Bhojana. There are queries about why do we abstain from taking meals in the afternoon, and what are the benefits of abstaining from taking food in the afternoons. Is it just by starving in the afternoon? Is it tantamount to observing Vipassana by just starving ourselves? So this becomes one factor in the 8 or 10 precepts. So just abstention from taking meals in the afternoon is not tantamount to the observation of Vipassana 8 precepts. This precept, namely abstention from taking meals in the afternoon, is the lightest precept among the 8 precepts. The purpose is twofold. One is there will be fewness of affairs. You will not be occupied, you will not be busy with preparing and enjoying this meal while you are practicing meditation, so that you can devote more time on the practice. And secondly, this will deter any interest in sensual pleasures. Such are the benefits. To elaborate on this point, when we take meals in the afternoon, as you all know, there are many things to be done, such as cooking, buying food, cooking, preparations, and then taking meals, washing dishes and so on, which takes a lot of time, and your time for practice will be reduced. So you are not only sustaining Sila, but also practicing meditation. So for such people, you will have more time for your practice. Such is the benefit of abstention from taking meals in the afternoon. Moreover, according to the custom of people all over the world, most people take meals in the morning very lightly, and they prepare meals in an elaborate way in the afternoon or evenings, such as celebrating the dinner party and the gatherings. And what is the purpose of that? The purpose of that is mainly to enjoy sensual pleasures at the gathering, or at least such meals will be encouraging the enjoyment of sense. This taking meals in the afternoon and in the evenings encourage mostly the worldly sensual pleasures. Therefore, now as for the practitioners, we are practicing our brahmacharya, that is noble abiding, abstention from sexual relations, and abstention from taking meals in the afternoon. Both of them, if you abstain from them, they will reduce your interest in sensual pleasures. Therefore, these two things, namely noble abiding, that is abstention from sexual relations, and abstention from enjoyment of meals in the afternoon, are consistent with each other. And as for the practitioners, it is more realistic. So all in all, by abstention from taking meals in the afternoon, that is we call bhojana, observing this precept, we have two benefits. Namely, there will be fewness of affairs, you will be less busy, less occupied, and will have more time on the practice of meditation. Secondly, you will have less interest in the sense of pleasures because you are able to restrain such interest in sense of pleasures. Furthermore, when you abstain from entertainments such as music, dance, singing, and so on, these kind of activities tend to soften one's mind, not in the sense of purifying one's mind by softening, but softening in the sense of encouraging interest in sense of pleasures. In this way, we can take it as it tends to soften one's mind. We become soft towards sense of pleasures, or in respect of sense of pleasures. And as regards the second part, namely beautifying or beautification, it also is encouraging the sense of pleasures. And also, as regards abstention from sitting or lying on luxurious and high beds, it is also, it has the quality of encouraging the sense of pleasures. And as for handling money, gold and silver, one tends to get attached to these materials because we can purchase or obtain sense objects by means of this money, silver and gold. This also is not suitable for practitioners who are practicing in order to cut down the sense desires. If one accepts them, it is tantamount to accepting sense desires or sense objects. Because all in all, they encourage sense of pleasures. By abstaining from these things, we are bound to gain the benefit of cutting down on the sense interest. Now to just sum up the benefits of this glorified Sila or additional Sila, whether you are just observing precepts as Sila for Sila's sake, or whether you are, especially when you are practicing mindfulness of every arising as a full-time yogi, if you are not able to sustain these precepts, you are bound to be overcome by or afflicted by sense of pleasures and attachment, craving or lust. This need not be elaborated because they are quite obvious. But one thing to explain or to mention is that if you are sitting or lying on luxurious and high beds, and if you are indulging in beautification of yourself, or you are indulging in entertainments such as playing music, singing or dancing, or if you are taking meals in afternoons, they tend to encourage lust or craving. Hence, the practice of 8 precepts or 10 precepts, abstaining these things. And it is better to abstain from these things. Sometimes if you are not breaking the precept totally, you may be breaking it. Even if you are not breaking it totally, you may be weakening it or tearing it, so to speak. Some of the precepts will not be broken, but they will be weakened. For instance, as regards this precepts, Vikara Bhojana, abstention from taking meals in afternoon. If any of these allowable juices contain some solid material and you are taking it, then although the precept is not broken, it will be weakened. And also if you are taking it without being thirsty, then also it may weaken the precept. And as regards taking these allowable materials when you are sick, such as chadu madu, the 4 sweets, jaggery or sugar, and if you take them without being sick, then although the precept is not totally broken, it may weaken your precept, because these are not to be taken as food, ahara, or nutrition. So that although the precept is not totally broken, it may be weakened. Just as in a fruiting tree, if a branch is totally broken, then there will be it will not bear any fruit at all. But although the branch may not be broken totally, but if it's weak, then it will not bear successful fruits. And similarly, if you weaken these precepts, you may not be able to realize this samadhi sekha, panya sekha fruits. So it is very important, one has to understand that in the practice of meditation, it is very important not to break or weaken the precepts. And as for this Sila, whether it is sustained by the monks or laity, it is divided into 3 grades, namely inferior grade, medium grade, and superior or high grade. When one is sustaining Sila, one should have this. If one has very soft or low level desire, chanda, or if the mind is not so strong, the willpower is not so strong, or if one is not so courageous, that is virya, very low level virya, low level energy, or if one is practicing with low level reasoning power. In this way there are the 4 factors, namely chanda, citta, virya, vimansa. Chanda, desire or zeal. Citta, mind or willpower. And virya, energy or heroic effort. And vimansa, power of reasoning or wisdom. If these 4 things are low level or they are inferior, then your Sila also will be inferior, of inferior grade. And if these four things are medium, that means you have medium form of desire, willpower, energy and reasoning power, then your Sila also will be medium, known as Majjhima Sila. It will be mediocre or medium. And on the other hand, if you are very energetic, if you are practicing in a high level way, in a superior way, in terms of desire, willpower, energy and reason, you will be able to sustain this high level or superior Sila, known as Paṇḍitā Sila. So if you are observing at all this Sila, you might as well observe this superior level Sila with the energetic application of zeal, willpower, energy and reason. In a sense, the ordinary sense of practicing, ordinary way of practicing Sila would be classified as an inferior Sila. And if one is practicing for to realize profitable states, or to be profitable or wholesome, then it will be medium. And if one is sustaining Sila with the reasoning power, that it is something it is worth practicing. If you are doing it that way, then your Sila will be said to be of high grade, Paṇḍitā Sila, or superior Sila. In another sense, if one is practicing Sila, being afflicted by impurities, defilements, such as denigrating others and uplifting yourself, saying that others are not so moral as you are, and if you are doing this with pride or conceit, then it will become hina Sila, that is inferior type of Sila. And if you are doing it if you are practicing Sila, not being afflicted by such impurities, it will be medium Sila. And if you are practicing in order to realize the supramundane benefits, then such Sila will be Paṇḍitā Sila, the superior or high form of Sila. In another sense, if one has this expectation with attachment, such as attachment towards prosperity of one's life, prosperity of wealth, by way of wealth, then it will belong to this inferior form of Sila, hina Sila. And if your intention is to be liberated from suffering, then it will be classified as medium one. And if your motive is to liberate all beings from suffering, which is Parami Sila, a kind of Sila which is a perfection of performance of perfections, which is done only by the Buddha-to-bes, will be classified as the highest one. So there's much to talk about this Sila. This much would be sufficient about Sila. As much as we divide this Sila into three categories, we can also divide Dana in the same way. That is by way of these three grades in terms of Citta, in terms of Chanda, Citta, Viriya, Vimansa. That is desire, willpower, energy, and reason. If you are performing dana in a low level of these 4 factors, then your dana also will be of the inferior grade, hina. And if you are doing it on a medium basis, medium level of these 4 factors, then your dana also will be of the medium grade. And if you are doing dana with the highest power of these 4 factors, then your dana also will be of the highest grade, Paṇḍitā grade, superior grade. So in this way, you can divide dana or sila in this way, and you may be able to perform such wholesome deeds in your own right. And the advice is that since you are practicing, devoting time on the practice of dana and sila, it is better that you practice these things to be of high level, so that it becomes superior grade of dana and sila. Sila, we said that sila is like the beginning of kusala, or it is like a mouth through which we take food. And if the mouth is in good condition, we will be able to absorb this food, ahara, in a good condition, and it will be easy to absorb, to take this food through our mouth. And this food, which contains nutrition, will spread throughout our body, so that there will be new materialities, new physical parts in our body. They will be formed in our body, and there will be good, pure, healthy, fresh materialities in our body. So too with the sila mouth. If our sila mouth is in good condition, then we will be able to absorb the food in the form of concentration training and wisdom training, which are the real Dhamma oja, Dhamma food or spiritual nutritions, giving rise to pure, fresh, clear mentalities in an unusual manner. And just as this nutrition, which is contained in the food, can cause new materialities, so too with the sila mouth. If the sila mouth is in good condition, we will be able to practice the concentration and wisdom, so as to realize, so as to cultivate our mind in a very wonderful manner. So it is to be desired, it is exhorted, yogis are exhorted, that with the sila mouth, keeping the sila mouth in good condition, may they be able to practice and absorb this concentration training and wisdom training. In the language of yogis, it is to cultivate the Satipatthana Bhavana, which is like absorbing this food, nutritions. As much as nutrition gives rise to good materiality, so too the spiritual nutrition will give rise to pure, clear and fresh mentality. That's all for today.